Today is Monday, January the 29th, and this is going to be a pretty short one because really what we saw today I don't think reflects what's happening in the market. We had volume that was less than phenomenal. We had a market that moved up all day long and popped up into the close. We had a McClellan oscillator that bounced back off of oversold. But frankly, it doesn't mean very much because the volume was so low. Look at that volume. I know it was all buying, very little selling. The summation index, and now we've expanded this summation index so we can see what's happening with this little nub up here, and you can see that it's starting to turn down. It's not significant yet, but it's a start. The thing is, we had low volume. We had a phenomenal move in the SPX, up 1.5% on what kind of news? Really? I mean, the coronavirus hasn't gone away. So Boeing had some good news about the 737 and some testing. Facebook, on the other hand, had some very bad news about advertising. So did Twitter. So did all of social media. This is a bit of a head fake, and you shouldn't get caught up in it. The SPX is still down below the 8 EMA. I know that the Ichimoku is above the candles, and there's some support down here. So if we were to drop, we would drop to 3,000, and then we could bounce off the candles. However, let's go to the NDX. The NASDAQ, which is constantly making highs, is no longer making highs. It's now starting to pull back. And it's going to be the case pretty soon where we start drawing a Fibonacci. So let's draw one in here. And let's take this one. And let's see what happened to the NASDAQ. Well, it peaked out at 114.6%. Now, you know I'm not a big believer in that particular Fibonacci. So let's try to, we got this low, and this low here. Same, doesn't really matter. We've got two sets of Fibonacci's that I've got on the chart right here, stopping at 114.6%. I don't think that's a big deal, but I do feel that it's a bit of a top. Apple, 362.7, seems like a great day. I mean, up $9. What did Apple do today to be up $9? There was some leaks about a new iPhone 12. It's definitely one of the stocks that you want to hold on to. And even, I wouldn't even say invest in right now, but you want to hold on to Apple. It's not a stock that I would be buying up here. I would look to be buying around 323. That's where we have the support area. Caterpillar, just doing nothing, which is exactly what I thought it would be and hoped it would be. Facebook had this big drop, but look where it got its support, right pretty much on the top of the cloud. Let's look at the weekly. The weekly still above the 200 daily moving average, but remember we have this pattern here, which is a bat, A, B, C, D, and we hit the D, and now we've started to move down. So what happens then is we look for an A, B, C, lower, and then we start to move up. So let's keep an eye on that. But Facebook is not a stock to invest in. GDX, we looked for a bounce off the cloud as an opportunity to buy, and I didn't. I'm still not going to move into GDX yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's still something that would be a good protection if the market were to go down. Let's take a look at Home Depot. Nothing much with Home Depot, still below this trend line. I'd like to see it stick around 245 for the next 3 weeks because that's where my short calls are. AT&T, which declared another 52 cent dividend. So, I mean, that's why we hold AT&T, right? It's the dividend. But it did find a support on the daily right at the bottom of the cloud. Let's take a quick look at the banks. And the banks were up 1, 2, half, 1.5, 0.8, 1.4%. So the banks were definitely up today, which is positive. But don't get fooled by this head fake. We're still looking at a McClellan oscillator, which is in the oversold area. And really, you have to look at this area here. Now, what I did today, the only trade I made is I got rid of my July puts because they only had 2.5 weeks left in them. And they had a minor loss, but I no longer think the market's going to go down to SPY 290 by July. So I kept my August 290s on, and I'm going to wait to step into more SPY puts. It's going to happen, folks. I'm seriously thinking this market is going down. This is not what you would expect the reaction to be with all the bad news that's going on. So just keep an eye on that. And I think the market is, let's look at the VIX for a second. The VIX really didn't move very much. This is the daily VIX, staying underneath the cloud. But the VIX still is in this middle trend area where we expect to see volatility. And that's what we're seeing right now. See the SPX? We're seeing that volatility there, that volatility in the movement of the index, and we're seeing it in the VIX as well. So just hang in there and make sure all of your stocks are covered.